Question number 76.
Honorable
Sir,
Minister.
the reply is laid on the table of House.
Supplementary 1.
So the limonite minerals have extensive application in atomic energy, defense and space sector for various strategic purposes in the country. In the draft proposal for amending the Minerals Act 1975, government has proposed to revoke its 2019 ban on private entities. Just days before the draft proposal was placed before the public consultation, it is alleged that two new companies dealing with the same strategic important rare materials have been registered by the leading corporate company which is already facing an allegation. Sir, this will definitely opening up this area.
Please ask your supplementary.
Yeah, I'm coming. This is the question, sir. Opening up the strategic mineral sector to private entities against national security. What is the government's stand on the proposed amendment, and does the government have any plans to reconsider its decision regarding opening up this critical sector to private entities?
Honorable Minister.
Chairman, sir, through you, I wish to inform the honourable member that, as he rightly mentioned, limonite has varied properties. It's used in paint, in paper, also nowadays in the aviation sector, in the making of aircrafts, even the health sector, in the making of implants. But as such, there has the price of the limonite, which is available from three states, primarily Kerala, Odisha, and Tamil Nadu, is determined by the market dynamics. And the Kerala government had actually put a rider that they should be given the first preference. Only after that it is available to the other entities. In Kerala itself, we have two PSUs, and one is the private sector. And rather, I would say that I would solicit the help of the state government there. We have certain constraints in making full utilization and full exploration of it. A, because of the dense population in those areas, the surface rights of the landowners come in the way they do not always allow. But more importantly, the Kerala government had given us this lease way back in 1970. And the lease was for 4 blocks for a period of 20 years. Then it got renewed in 1990, again 20 years. Then the renewal was due in 2010, but it was denied. 2 blocks were totally denied. The other 2 blocks were given permission or lease only for 5 years. So 5, then 5, then 5. That was the third segment of 5. So the constraint actually is happening from the side of the Kerala government, rather. And
that is true for PSU.
Yes. Yeah. And there are 2 PSUs. One is the Travancore Titanium. The other one is Kerala Minerals Limited. Kerala Minerals and Metals Limited. So now, in fact, the Travancore Limited is putting pressure on us that they should be getting price which is available for the limonite or the titanium available from Odisha coast. Now, incidentally, the scientific fact is that the eastern coast is richer in the mineral, but the content is lesser. So here the overall quantity may be lesser, but the content inside is more. And therefore, the price is not effective or manageable. So I think that is the reason. In fact, the constraint on the functioning of the IREL is coming more from the preferences which have been put forward by the state government rather than IREL per se.
Honorable Member, second supplementary.
Sir, I have not asked for the price details. I have asked for a single direct question. It is a strategic component in the atomic energy. Whether the government is planning to lift the ban which is on the private entities. That is my question. He has not answered to that. So my second supplementary, what are the steps taken by the government to protect the public sector undertaking like the IREL, which produce strategic important rare minerals used for the atomic energy purpose, strategic component it is, whether government plans to privatize this sector in future. This is a
Honourable
direct
Minister.
question.
No, as I said, to add to what he was mentioning to the earlier question, there is only one private company there in Kerala to which the mineral is made available only after the government-run PSUs have exhausted their demand. That was our commitment. We are sticking to that. The lack of commitment if happening is from the other side. Now, as far as the protection of these minerals are concerned, I agree with him. These are B sandy minerals, and we are, in fact, equally careful, cautious about this because out of these 7 beach minerals, one is monazite, which is also a source of thorium. And India happens to be the storehouse of thorium in the sense that we have 21% of it, and we are also looking forward to have world's first ever thorium-run reactor in the form of Bhavani, which is also going to be made functional by next year or 2024. In fact, I would use this opportunity to say that out of the 22 reactors that we have in India today, as many as 10 to 11 were established only during the last 8.5 years of this government. Not only that, yes, but I can add to, yes, I'm adding to the answer. And secondly, what I'm trying to say is the intent of the government is so clear, so sincere and so committed. The irony, sir, is that the first ever agreement for a reactor establishment was done way back in 1988. If you go back in the history, that was Kandakalam. But the construction work, and then construction work started in 2011. 2001. And till then, it had not been made functional. It was only after this government came, within 6 months, in November 2014, we made the first unit functional. Now the 4 units are already functional. So I think we are moving on a fast track, trying to make up for the lapse or the time slag of the past governments, also living up to the commitment and the national interest. We have, in fact, fortified our means and our mechanism of guarding these metals. As you were saying, referring to your question, we are not only now using the radiation methods or the radio checkposts, we are now also using space technology to detect any pilferage of these minerals happening.
Dr. Fozia Khan. Dr. Fozia Khan.
Unanswered question. No answer.
Sir, since the Honorable Prime Minister is here, I would like to take liberty to ask a question about something which is near my neighboring district. There's एक भारत की पहली LIGO लेज़र इंफोरोमेट्री ग्रेविटेशनल वेव लेबोरेटरी है जो हमारे औंढा नागनाथ के दुधाला गांव में एस्टैब्लिश की जा रही है और उस ऑब्जर्वेटरी का विशेषता ये है कि ये दुनिया में तीसरी लेबोरेटरी है। ये इससे पहले 2 जो है अमेरिका की बाहर है, मौजूदा हैंसफोर्ड वॉशिंगटन में और लिविंगस्टन ल्यूजियाना में स्थित है। सर 100 करोड़ रुपए ऑलरेडी इस पर स्पेंड हो गए हैं। मेरी विनंती है कि अगर ये काम हम इस G20 के वर्ष में करते हैं तो बहुत बड़ा काम हो सकता है हमारे हिंदुस्तान के लिए। ये एक बहुत फेदर इन द कैप हो सकता है। 100 करोड़ स्पेंड हो गए हैं, 1200 करोड़ इसमें लगने वाले हैं। क्या माननीय प्रधानमंत्री इस विशेष प्रयोगशाला के लिए आगे काम बढ़ाएंगे?
Honorable Minister.
The question of the honourable member refers to one specific laboratory. I think we'll get the update and furnish it to her because it's not directly related to the department of the question.
Sri V. Vijay Reddy.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity, sir. I'm very happy that Honorable Prime Minister is present. Sir, now that Honorable Minister has agreed that there is a private sector...
Sir, your question.
That's sir. Honorable Minister has stated in this August House that the private sector is allowed in the mining of sand minerals. Sir, since the government is allowing the private entities to engage the mining beach sand minerals like limonite sand, which are considered to be one among the 7 which are very important, the Honorable Minister has said, sir, strategic rare earth minerals. How does the government of India intend to regulate this industry, because private sector is there, so that it does not lead to unfair practices?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I think the concern of the honorable member is well taken. But he would also appreciate that if you go by the sequence of events of the last 7, 8 years or 9 years, there has been considerable improvement. There was a time around 2013-12 when most of the newspapers published from Chennai had every fortnight one or the other news reported about some smuggling happening over there. Because the irony is that out of these 7 minerals, some of the private parties would secure a license to dig out granite for building purposes. But in the garb of that, they would also take out monazite, which is actually required for the thorium, for uranium-233, and therefore for the nuclear reactors. But after this government came in, we have supplemented not only the existing safeguards, but as I said, even we have now started using the other means like space technology, because through space technology, through satellite imaging, you can determine the different shades of the minerals, and any suspicious activity happening there can be detected. Thirdly, I would also again, coming back to what I was saying in response to the first question, the law and order also pertains to the state government. So we are repeatedly requesting the concerned state governments to be more cooperative, because the police deployment and the other features are under their control. But we are very cautious about it, and regardless of whether it is a private party or a public sector unit, I think the caution remains the same.
Shri Ilamaram Karim.
Thank you, sir. The strategically important rare earths are available at seashore. Kerala seashore, as you said, it is thickly populated. Whether government has conducted any ecological study, what will be the impact of private concerns mining at the seashore? Whether government has conducted any study? If yes, will you provide a copy to members? If not, before giving permission to private hands for mining, a proper study on ecological impact should be conducted.
Honorable Minister.
No, I think the honorable member's concern is well taken, but I would like to share with him that this is something which is been there right from the beginning. And we have something called Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, which is the overall umbrella under the aegis of which the IREL also functions. So not only this, even in other issues like this, which require to be guarded or to be monitored, I think the due exercise is done. And wherever the mining is done, in fact, I would rather solicit the support of the cooperation of the public representatives, because some of the places we get undue apprehensions being created in the public mind when we undertake a project. Like, for example, we have a huge source of uranium in northeastern state of Meghalaya, which got stuck up. In Rawalbhata, we were about to put up a plant which has been stuck up for the last 2-3 years or so. And therefore, all the due caution is taken wherever this mining is done, or even the reactor is set up. But it's only the apprehension which happens. Sometimes somebody says that there will be now epidemic of cancers happening or something like that. Though we have provided them studies to the contrary, we did a small in-house survey to see how many scientists working in Bhava Atomic Center died of cancer due to radiations. And you would be surprised, we found none. There were only 2 or 3 unnatural deaths happening, and 1 or 2 cancers which were not related to radiation. So I think it's a responsibility of all of us to allay these fears. In some of the foreign countries now, the mining and the reactors are being established even in the residential colonies or in their close vicinity.
Shri question number 77, Shri Mohammad Nadimul Haq.
Question number 77.
Sir, a statement is laid on the table of the House.
Supplementary 1.
Sir, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India has pulled up the Ministry of External Affairs for revenue losses and improper financial management in a recently released audit report. So my question is, does the ministry have any planned compensation mechanism in order to recover the revenue losses of rupees 58.23 crores occurred because of misapplication of fees in the OCI card scheme?
Honorable Minister.
Sir, I would like to inform the honorable member through you, sir. The Ministry of External Affairs extends a number of consular services for passports, visas, consular services, attestations, OCI, PIO. Each of this is a charged service. Now, because these are rendered outside the country, there are rate of exchange issues which come up. Now, these are all services which came up at different points of time. So, typically they were handled, the instructions in each case were sent individually. Now, in 2017, instructions were sent regarding, because whenever there is devaluation or revaluation, there's a refixation of the rate of exchange. In 2017, instructions were sent regarding refixing of the rate of exchange. Now, the CAG paragraph, sir, and I want to say here that my own experience of audit and of CAG, I believe they are a very essential part of good governance. They help us to look at imperfections in our process. So, CAG brought to attention two sets of issues. One related to UK. Now, in the case of UK, there should have been, according to the CAG report, a 23% increase in the fees which were charged. But our mission in UK took the view at that point that this would have a very dampening effect on the tourism from UK to India, and therefore limited it to 10%. So they did it for what they considered to be policy reasons. 17 other missions and posts in Europe, in their particular case, they were under the assumption that the instructions applied to visas and not to OCI. So they did not make the necessary changes. Now, when this matter has come to attention, we have actually, before the matter was actually taken up by CAG, sir, we had issued instructions in 2020 to rectify the process. So what we have tried to do is to put systemic checks, because that is the nature of the CAG process. The CAG wants us to make corrections so that such a mistake will not happen again. So we have instituted quarterly reporting, which is monitored through the e-Samiksha process, so that the rate of exchange on all services is monitored quarterly. Every month, the head of the consular wing is also required to report to the head of mission or head of post. And there's a mandatory revision every April, so that whatever happens, it is not slipped up due to bureaucratic delay. And there's a unified rate of all services, so that this kind of situation will not occur.
Supplementary 2.
Sir, there has been setting up of Indian cultural centers abroad. In Washington, D.C., at a cost of $5.75 million in 2013, a center was taken up, and in Paris in 2011, it was taken up, which is now encroached. Sir, in the answer, it has been given that these properties have faced certain challenges in preparing them for their intended use.
Your question.
So my question is, sir, what is the plan of action and why such a casual answer has been given?
Honorable Minister.
Sir.
Honorable Member,
Sir,
the answer was very comprehensive. I'm sure you'll take note of it. And if there is an issue, you may discuss with the Honorable Minister at mutual convenience. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, please. No, please. Honorable Minister.
Sir, sir, in the case of the property in Washington, it was acquired in 2013. Now, in the case of the property in Paris, it was acquired in 2011. Now, typically, and they were acquired for the purpose of cultural centers. Now, typically, sir, when properties are acquired, not built greenfield, they need to be modified for use. And that is the information which I was trying to convey to the honorable member through my answer, that there was a modification required to make it ready for use. Now, in the case of the Washington property, sir, what happened was, after the acquisition of the property, a certain set of issues came up while the matter was being processed. There were waterproofing issues, there were asbestos concerns, there was conservation work which was recommended by the architect we were looking at. And in all of this, we also faced a problem that the general financial rules of the Government of India was at variance with American practice. For example, our rules require us to take earnest money deposit, to seek a performance guarantee bond, to seek retention money, and these are not American practices. So by the time we resolved this, we actually had two issues then which came up. One, the Americans made us an offer of additional land in Washington, D.C. So then this raised a question whether we should go ahead with this project or whether we should be looking at the new land offer, which we got in 2019. The second issue was COVID, because of COVID, everything was at standstill for 2.5 years. So I would like to assure the member that since we have a property, we are giving instructions for its usage by the embassy so that a government asset is not rendered infructuous. Now, regarding the property in Paris, sir, we had, again, some very peculiarly French problems. One was the tendering practices in France are very different from ours. They do not allow a general contractor who has overall supervision. So they insisted that the tender had to be split up into 15 packages which were awarded to 10 different companies. Now, it was unfortunately, sir, a problem that one of the companies which was in charge of structures, partitions, ceiling and facade went bankrupt. Now, in our country, by our procedures, we could have awarded that work to another contractor. In the French system, sir, till the liquidation was done, and the court of liquidation appointed another company to do that work, and that company then raised the price. We had to follow the French practices. So, but I would like to assure the honourable member, sir, that this project is 95% done. There are challenges when we work abroad and we have to reconcile their practices with our rules. I think we have tried to do our best under these circumstances. And I'm sure when the CAG paragraph is examined, including by the PAC, these will be issues which will be presented.
Shri Rakesh Sinha.
सभापति महोदय, मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से जानना चाहता हूं कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात कही है, इंडिया इज़ द ओल्डेस्ट होम ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी। यद्यपि हम प्राइमरी लेवल किताब में पढ़ते थे, लेकिन पहली बार भारतीय राज्य ने इसको असर्टिव तरीके से इस नैरेटिव को रखा है। क्योंकि जब हम देखते हैं यूएस में, तो व्हाइट हाउस में लिखा रहता है कि आवर फाउंडर्स लुक्ड एट द ओल्डेस्ट डेमोक्रेसी, दैट इज ग्रीस। So this is unsettling the entire civilizational discourse. तो क्या मंत्री जी बताएंगे कि ये जो हमारे कल्चरल सेंटर हैं, वह विदेशों में डेमोक्रेसी के ऊपर डिस्कोर्स को महत्वपूर्ण विश्वविद्यालयों में जैसे हार्वर्ड हुआ, कैम्ब्रिज हुआ, शुरू करेगा?
माननीय मंत्री जी।
Sir, I would like to inform the honourable member through you that this matter has been discussed by us with the Indian Council of Cultural Relations. We have already initiated activities with various institutions abroad through our cultural centers to emphasize the message that India is the mother of democracy, that we have a pluralistic and consultative tradition which very few societies, if anybody at all, can match, and this is very much work in progress.
Shri P. Bhattacharya ji.
I would like to know, Honourable Minister, as you have said that in Paris and Washington, the Indian Cultural Center facing some sort of problems, etc. I would like to know from you, besides this Washington and Paris, how many other countries we have this type of cultural center and who are actively functioning of spreading the Indian culture in other part of the world?
Honourable Minister.
Sir, I do not have the exact number readily with me, but by memory, I would say we have about 45 designated cultural centers. But I would also like to inform the honourable member that today every embassy and every consulate of India undertakes cultural work. So even if there is not a separate autonomous cultural center, cultural activity is very much part of the diplomatic mandate. It is being pushed very vigorously, and we have again, sir, seen a very big change in the last decade, and that is something which is very noteworthy.
Shrimati Seema Dwivedi.
महोदय जो सवाल हम करना चाहते थे माननीय सिन्हा जी ने किया और बहुत अच्छा उसका उत्तर आया। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ माननीय मंत्री जी को, मुझे मेरे प्रश्न का उत्तर मिल गया।
Question number 78, Shri Johar Sarkar. Honorable Minister.
Statement is laid on the table of the House.
First supplementary.
Sir, I asked for a specific question, specific reply to the ongoing differences between the Supreme Court and the executive. We as the legislature have the right to ask these questions, but what I get by way of reply is it requires consultation. Of course, we know it. And differences of opinion, if any, are mutually reconciled. So am I to understand that all differences are mutually reconciled? And in the same sentence, you have used the word that only the appropriate person is appointed as the judge.
Please ask your supplementary.
Sir, वही supplementary मैं पूछ रहा हूँ.
Please.
Do you consider Victoria Gowrie's appointment to be really an appropriate person, one who has been accused in public of casteist remarks, of remarks against minorities?
Some decorum. An honorable judge who has been duly appointed through a process. I don't think we as honorable members here should be casting aspersions of this nature.
Sir,
I seek your indulgence.
I ask because this is in the public domain. Everybody on earth knows that Victoria Gowrie's opinions have been challenged by the different majority.
Honorable member.
You cannot wish it away saying that this is not proper.
Honorable member, please. The three wings of the state, legislature, executive and judiciary, they have to act in tandem and togetherness, and we must have mutual respect for them. All three ultimately have to get together to fructify our goals. When it comes to judiciary, with respect to which a judgment of the highest court has already come, I'm sure that issue should be kept away. I would urge the honorable member to ask his supplementary in a pointed manner, keeping in mind the provisions that judicial situations have to be addressed in a delicate manner. Please.
With delicacy, I am saying.
No, you are making reference, honorable member.
Sir, I am saying.
No, you are making reference to an individual who is not a member of the House.
Sir,
you are making reference on which the honorable president has issued a warrant.
This is a
of appointment.
Thing known
the Supreme Court has taken already a view on that.
Whatever be it, mistakes happen.
Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chairman, sir, you have very rightly made the observation that there are certain sensitive matters which we have to bear in mind when we speak in this August House. And the leader of the House also. You have been not called by the chairman to speak. Sir, the question the honorable member has raised, honorable member is a former senior bureaucrat, so I expect that he need not be told the rules and regulations and decorum. However, his question was very specific. He was asking about the conflict between judiciary and executive. Now, this is a vague kind of question. In a way, if there are differences in opinion, and that is very much part of the democracy. Within a family, within political parties, there are differences of opinion. So when there are differences of opinion, there are ways to make solutions to that also. So his question was not anything which he wanted to know from the government in terms of any figures, facts.
Honorable member, second supplementary.
The minister has not replied correctly. I asked for sharp points of difference, not conflict. So don't put words in my mouth. I asked for sharp points of difference. That has not been responded
Honorable
to.
Minister.
And sir, one more, sir. One more to this, that he has mentioned about 127 proposals of High Court judges that are lying vacant. when will they be taken up?
Honorable
18
Minister.
proposals have been rejected.
Honorable Minister.
Sir, while I am speaking in this House today, there are 210 vacancies in various high courts. In terms of the numbers of the vacancy, I can say that once the names are recommended by the collegium, 3 members collegium in the High Court, then it proceeds as per the laid down procedure in the memorandum of the procedure.
Shri Sushil Modi.
So, sir, these 210 names, he is asking about the vacancies. We have not received the proposal, so there's no question of any sharp differences.
Shri Sushil Modi.
सती महोदय, मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय से जानना चाहता हूं कि ये बात सही कि 6 जनवरी 2023 को भारत सरकार ने चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को एक पत्र लिखा है और जिसमें यह आग्रह किया कि सर्च कम इवैल्यूएशन कमेटी में भारत सरकार का और राज्य सरकारों का प्रतिनिधि रखा जाए, जिसके द्वारा कॉलेजियम जो जजेस की नियुक्ति की जा सके।
ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
और उसकी क्या स्थिति है? ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
सर, आपको इस चीज़ का विदित होगा कि 2015 में जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेंच ने इस हाउस के द्वारा पारित किया गया, यूनानिमसली जो पारित किया गया एनजेएसी और 99th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट दोनों को स्ट्राइक डाउन किया था, तो उसमें कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशंस किए थे और कुछ डायरेक्शंस दिए थे। उसी डायरेक्शन के मुताबिक और उस डायरेक्शन में क्लियरली लिखा है कि जो एग्जिस्टिंग एमओपी को सप्लीमेंट किया जाए, इम्प्रोवाइज किया जाए, और उसी में ये भी कहा गया कि सरकार को पहल करना चाहिए कॉलेजियम के साथ। उसको फॉलो करते हुए मैंने एक पत्र लिखा, लेकिन उस पत्र को कुछ समाचार और पत्र में या किसी एक फोरम में गलत तरीके से पेश किया गया, तो ये न्यूज़पेपर के आधार पर अगर हम लोग यहाँ बात करेंगे तो ये ठीक नहीं रहेगा सर।
श्री तिरुचि शिवा।
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Sir, my question is very simple but very important. Would the government consider the possibilities of introducing the reservation policy in the appointment of judges?
Honorable Minister.
Sir, as per the existing policy and provision, there is no reservation in the Indian judiciary. However, I have already reminded all the honorable judges, especially the collegium members, to keep in mind while recommending the names to include the members from backward communities, women, and other categories which are not represented adequately in the Indian judiciary.
Shri KTS Tulsi.
Honorable Chairman, sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. It's an important issue, and I want to place before this House and before the Minister the statement made by Mr. B.R. Ambedkar with regard to the appointment of judges. It's very important. With this statement, Dr. Ambedkar says, with regard to the question of concurrence of the Chief Justice, it seems to me that those who advocate that proposition seem to rely implicitly both on impartiality of the Chief Justice and the soundness of his judgment. I personally feel no doubt that the Chief Justice is an eminent person, but after all, the Chief Justice is a man with all the failings, all the sentiments, and all the prejudices which we as common people have. And I think to allow the Chief Justice practically veto on the appointment of judges is to transfer the authority to the Chief Justice, which we are not prepared to do, which we are not prepared to veto. Then there is Justice Krishna Iyer, who has expressed himself. This is in public domain.
Your question to the Honorable Minister.
No, my second question, with regard to the same issue, is the quotation from Justice Krishna Iyer on the appointment of judges. And Justice Krishna Iyer says, there is no structure to hear the public in the process of selection. No principle is laid down. No investigation is made. And a sort of anarchy prevails. Is
Honorable
that right?
Minister.
Sir, I share and endorse the sentiments made by Honorable Member Tulsi ji, and also what he has quoted from the debates of the Constituent Assembly, especially Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji. However, we all know how the provisions of the Constitution got changed, especially in the second judge's case, which is known as the Advocates on Records Association versus Union of India case. And that where the word consultation was transferred and changed as concurrence. And further, the President reference was made to seek clarification on the exact meaning of the consultation. And it was elaborated and further expanded in 1998 by introducing the collegium system. So what was transpired in the Constituent Assembly and what was being introduced and which we still practice, there is a big shift. But however, since we are not discussing about the judicial appointment and the matters related to, it will be difficult to respond to the quotes which honorable member has made, especially about Justice Krishna
Question
Iyer
number
and
79, Shri Mujibullah Khan.
79.
Honorable
Chairman,
Minister.
sir, the answer is laid on the table of House.
Supplementary one.
थैंक यू सर। मैं राज्यसभा आने के बाद सर ये पहला स्टार क्वेश्चन मेरे भाग्य में पड़ा है।
सप्लीमेंट्री।
और मेरा सौभाग्य है कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी आज सदन पर मौजूद है, उनके उपस्थिति में मेरे को पूछने का मौका मिला है। मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय से जानना चाहता हूं कि जो पावर रिएक्टर्स मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, हमारे कर्नाटक और हरियाणा, ये 4 राज्यों में चल रहे हैं। माननीय मंत्री जी उसमें आंसर दिए हैं कि 2031 को ये रिएक्टर्स कंप्लीट होगा। तो मैं माननीय मंत्री से ये जानना चाहता हूं कि ये सब प्रोग्राम एक कब शुरू हुआ था, ये रिएक्टर्स का काम कौन से साल में शुरू हुआ था और कब खत्म होने के लिए टाइम उसका फिक्स किया गया।
ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर,
इस बीच में अगर टाइम ज्यादा चले गया है तो कितना हमारा और पैसा एक्स्ट्रा लगा, नुकसान कितना हो रहा है?
सभापति महोदय, आदरणीय सदस्य का अभिनंदन है और जो उन्होंने प्रश्न किया उसका उत्तर तो उनको उपलब्ध करवा दिया गया, लेकिन इसमें कोई अनावश्यक विलंब नहीं हुआ है। वास्तविकता यह है कि सन 2017 में मंत्रिमंडल की ओर से स्वीकृति दी गई थी और कुल मिलाकर के 1,05,000 करोड़ की लागत से ये सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स बनने हैं, जिसमें 2 रिएक्टर कर्नाटक, 2 हरियाणा, 2 मध्य प्रदेश, 2 राजस्थान। अब 2031 का जो लास्ट डेडलाइन है वो फेज्ड मैनर में है। उसका अर्थ ये नहीं है कि सारे के सारा फंक्शनल उसी साल में होगा, धीरे धीरे फेजेज में ये काम चलेगा, लेकिन ये निरंतर इसकी प्रगति हो रही है। क्योंकि इस सरकार का सन 2014 के बाद प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमने अनेकों ऐसे कारण जो पहले विलंब पैदा करते थे उनकी भी चिंता की है और इसीलिए आपको जानकर के खुशी होगी और आदरणीय सदस्य को भी कि 2013-14 में जब ये सरकार आई थी तो हमारे यहाँ कुल मिलाकर के जनरेशन जो एटॉमिक एनर्जी की होती थी वो थी 35,333 मिलियन यूनिट, जो आज बढ़कर के 47,112 हो गई। अर्थात 60-65 वर्ष में हम केवल 35,000 तक पहुंचे थे और 8 वर्ष में हम 12,000 की उसमें इजाफा हुआ। इसी प्रकार, और ये इसलिए संभव हुआ कि अनेकों ऐसे निर्णय लिए गए प्रधानमंत्री जी के द्वारा जो आउट ऑफ बॉक्स भी थे, पाथ ब्रेकिंग थे। उदाहरण के तौर पर 3,000 करोड़ रुपए का बजट रखा गया एक्सक्लूसिव फॉर एटॉमिक एनर्जी फॉर 10 ईयर्स। इसके अतिरिक्त ये तय किया गया कि हमारी जनरेशन कैपेसिटी सन 2025-24 तक 3 गुना बढ़ करके हो जाएगी। अक्सर ये हमारे रिएक्टर प्लांट्स और न्यूक्लियर प्लांट्स सीमित थे दक्षिण के कुछ राज्यों तक या पश्चिम महाराष्ट्र में, उनको देश के दूसरे हिस्सों में भी ले जाने का काम शुरू हुआ। जहां हम खड़े हैं इससे कोई 150 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर हरियाणा में गोरखपुर नाम के स्थान पर हमारा एक प्रोजेक्ट अगले 2 वर्ष के भीतर वो भी फंक्शनल हो जाएगा। इसके अतिरिक्त ये पहली बार इस सरकार के द्वारा हुआ 2017 में जिस साल ये प्रोजेक्ट अप्रूव हुए उसी साल 10 इंडिजिनस प्रोजेक्ट्स पूरे आत्मनिर्भर के मंत्र पर आधारित अप्रूव किए गए इन अ बल्क अप्रूवल। इतना ही नहीं, हमें दिक्कत आती थी फाइनेंशियल कंस्ट्रेंट्स की। पहली बार जिस प्रकार से अंतरिक्ष को प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए खोल दिया और एक बड़ा क्रांतिकारी एक निर्णय हुआ, उसी प्रकार परमाणु ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में भी जॉइंट वेंचर्स के लिए सन 2017 में खोल दिया गया। और मुझे खुशी है इस सदन के साथ ये बात साझा करते हुए कि वर्तमान में हम इस प्रकार की 2 जॉइंट वेंचर्स में काफ़ी अच्छी तरह से प्रगति कर रहे हैं। एक हमारी NTPC के साथ है जो नेशनल थर्मल कॉरपोरेशन है, और दूसरा इंडियन ऑयल के साथ। तो कहने का तात्पर्य ये कि बहुत तीव्र गति से, यदि आप मुझे कहें तो मैं कुछ और भी लेकिन शायद समय की मर्यादा रहेगी।
ऑनरेबल मेंबर सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री।
माननीय मंत्री महोदय, हमारे जॉइंट वेंचर में जो PPP मोड में किया गया है, हमारे पार्टनर्स कौन कौन हैं और ये पार्टनर्स आने के बाद हम लोग कितने सफलता हासिल किए?
ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
पार्टनर्स एक बार दोहराएंगे?
ये PPP में पार्टनर कौन कौन है जॉइंट वेंचर में?
शायद समझने में, मेरे समझाने में, इट इज़ नॉट PPP मॉडल। अभी हमने जॉइंट वेंचर्स फॉर द टाइम बिंग खोला है विद द पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट्स। शायद वो आगे जाकर के उस पर विचार हो। फिलहाल चूंकि अभी तक तो ये पूरा गोपनीयता में काम करता था, तो 2017 में एक निर्णय लेकर के प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जॉइंट वेंचर्स विद पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट्स, और ये NTPC और इंडियन ऑयल कॉरपोरेशन दोनों ही पब्लिक सेक्टर है। पहले चरण में हमने इस तरह का एक प्रयोग और इसके अनुभव से फिर आगे बढ़ने का प्रयास रहेगा।
श्री जयराम रमेश।
Sir, my question is completely non-political and I expect a completely non-political answer. I'd like the Honourable Minister to take the House into confidence. What is the status of negotiations with the French, which has been going on for a long time, for the construction of 6 1600 megawatt reactors at Jaitapur in Maharashtra?
Honourable Minister.
No, I think the question, as desired by the honourable member, he has desired a non-political response. But the question itself is laced in politics, because so much of the conflict of the views on the two sides happened because of certain geopolitical reasons. But we are very earnestly trying to sort it out, and we are moving forward.
Question number 80. Shri Kanak Medala Ravindra Kumar. Absent. Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, question number 80. Okay. Shri Dinesh Anavadia.
धन्यवाद माननीय सभापति महोदय जी। मैं गुजरात से आता हूँ और आपके माध्यम से माननीय मंत्री जी से ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि 1 फरवरी 2023 की स्थिति में गुजरात के उच्च न्यायालयों में विलंबित मामलों का ब्यौरा दीजिए।
ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
महोदय, पिछले 3 साल गुजरात में जो प्रश्न पूछा गया है कि उनके यहाँ कितने मामले लंबित हैं, इस मामले में मैं गुजरात के बारे में बताना चाहूँगा कि जो अधीनस्थ न्यायालयों में 14,47,459 मुकदमे जो है लंबित हैं, और जहाँ तक गुजरात में हाई कोर्ट, आपका जिले के मामले में या हाई कोर्ट को मामले? जी जी।
डॉक्टर एमी याग्निक।
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would like to ask the Honorable Law Minister that there are about 63 lakh cases in India which are pending due to non-availability of legal counsel to them. Does the government intend to expand the panel of lawyers appointed by the National Legal Services Authority to provide free legal aid to a wider range of these eligible litigants who do not have representation by a lawyer?
Honorable Minister.
सभापति महोदय, विधिक सलाह के लिए नालसा, सालसा, डालसा और ताल्लुक स्तर पर हम जो वंचित हैं, शोषित हैं, पीड़ित हैं, महिलाएं हैं, दिव्यांग लोग हैं, एससी के लोग हैं, एसटी के लोग हैं, माइनॉरिटी के लोग हैं, जो आर्थिक रूप से विपन्न हैं, उनके लिए हम लोग विधिक सलाह दे रहे हैं। प्रो बोनो स्कीम है और न्याय बंधु की स्कीम है और टेली लॉ की स्कीम।
I think
Also, I will appoint more lawyers for these kind of people.
It was not audible, but response
I
is there.
think the answer was not correct.
And you both being from the, you can get in touch with the Honorable Minister.
So the intention is to come from the Honorable Law Minister.
And the paralegal volunteers are being expanded, and we have already stated that from last year, we are even giving free legal aids for providing pro bono services. The fees are provided with the government. This is a great effort to ensure that poor people get justice at a very, very cheap rate or free, of course, if possible.
It required a high decibel response. Dr. Shantanu Sen.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as a law-abiding citizen, I am really worried, as because there is a prevailing public perception because of certain events and certain statements that our government is trying to have a direct control over the judiciary. My question before my learned minister is, what step is being taken by our government to clear this confusion amongst the common people at large?
Honorable Minister.
सभापति महोदय, जैसे आपने ही अपने विचार व्यक्त करते हुए कहा था कि डेमोक्रेसी के 3 पिलर हैं, कार्यपालिका, विधायिका और न्यायपालिका। तीनों के अपने अधिकार हैं, तीनों के कर्तव्य हैं और कोई भी लक्ष्मण रेखा का उल्लंघन नहीं करता है। तो इसलिए सबके अपने सीमाओं में हम लोग काम करते हैं और कुल मिलाकर हमारा उद्देश्य है कि अंतिम व्यक्ति को न्याय मिल सके।
क्वेश्चन नंबर 81, श्री जावेद अली खान। Honorable Minister.
वह पटल पे रखा गया।
Supplementary one, Honorable Member.
माननीय सभापति जी, आप भी देखिए मेरे प्रश्न का भाग का।
आप प्रश्न पूछिए।
पूछूंगा तो जब जवाब देंगे। भाग का एक भी जवाब, एक शब्द भी उसके जवाब में नहीं लिखा गया है। अब मेरा सवाल तो सुन लीजिए सर।
ऑनरेबल,
बहरहाल वो बाद में मुझे बता देंगे या दोबारा पटल पे रख देंगे?
नहीं, ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर, तब पटल पर रखा था, अब बताएंगे। ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
सभापति महोदय, हमारे जो माननीय सदस्य हैं उनका स्पेसिफिक प्रश्न था कि ऑल इंडिया कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स जो सरकार तय करती है उसमें जो वेटेज के मानक हैं वो क्या है? ऑल इंडिया और मैं उनको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि इसके जो मानक हैं 1941 से प्रक्रिया शुरू हुई है। श्रम मंत्रालय के द्वारा 2016 के इंडेक्स को बनाया गया है। हमने 2016 के इंडेक्स के 16 का जो इंडेक्स बनाया उसमें मानकों में वृद्धि करी है। उसमें जो यूनियन और स्टेट जो संख्या थी उसको 25 से बढ़ा करके 28 किया है। कवरेज जो 78 था जो सेंटर्स का उसको बढ़ाकर 88 किया है। इसके अतिरिक्त उसके कवरेज के जो मार्केट्स जो क्षेत्र थे उनको हमने इंक्रीज़ किया है और उसके साथ ही साथ सैंपल साइज़ को भी बढ़ाया है। ये जो मानक इकट्ठे किए जाते हैं ये मानक औद्योगिक जगत के जो 7 क्षेत्र हैं उन विभिन्न क्षेत्रों से किए जाते हैं और अब उसमें पहले 392 उसमें कमोडिटीज़ थी, उनको बढ़ाकर अब 465 किया गया है और उसके द्वारा ही इस वेज का निर्धारण होता है।
Honorable member, second supplementary.
सर, अगर आप मेरे प्रश्न से और उत्तर से संतुष्ट हैं तो फिर मजबूरी में मुझे भी संतुष्ट होना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि आपका आदेश तो
Please ask your supplementary.
सर माथे है। मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से ये जानना चाहता हूं कि वित्त मंत्रालय के अनुसार मई 2022 में जो थोक मूल्य सूचांक WPI महंगाई का था, वो पिछले 30 वर्षों में सबसे अधिक था। लेकिन जो हमारा लेबर ब्यूरो है शिमला, उसके अनुसार महंगाई भत्ता 3 से 4% तक ही बढ़ रहा है। क्या मंत्री जी ये बताने का कष्ट करेंगे कि आइटम्स का वेटेज परसेंटेज तय करने में कुछ उसे घटाया बढ़ाया जाता है हर बार, ताकि महंगाई भत्ता जो है वो कम देना पड़े?
माननीय मंत्री जी,
मुझे लगता है कि सरकार बहुत पारदर्शिता के साथ कार्य करती है और हमने उस पारदर्शिता को बढ़ाने के लिए मानकों के स्थान, सैंपल का साइज और सारी संख्याओं को बढ़ाया, जो मैंने अपने पूर्व उत्तर में दिया गया है। और ये मानक 1941 से लगातार किए जा रहे हैं और इसलिए उस पारदर्शी प्रक्रिया को हम पूरी तरीके से सबके सामने रखते हैं। और माननीय सदस्य को भी अगर कोई और आशंका है तो कभी भी व्यक्तिगत आकर मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं।
श्री M. Shanmugam.
Thank you very much, sir. Regarding the All India Consumer Price Index, it was started in 1936. Subsequently, in 1960, it was revised by a committee. Then 1980 also it was revised by a committee by Dr. Seal and Roth. Long 40 years, no committee has been formed to revise this index. Please, I request the Honorable Minister to revise this index. This is the right time.
Honorable Minister.
Form a committee and revise.
माननीय सभापति महोदय, ये सुझाव है और लेबर ब्यूरो के द्वारा इस पर विचार किया जा रहा है।
Question number 82, Shri K.R. Suresh Reddy. Absent. Honorable Minister. Question number 83, Dr. Fozia Khan.
Question number 83, sir.
उत्तर सभा पटल पे रखा गया।
Honorable member, supplementary 1.
Sir, I want to ask the minister through you, that these animals from the forest, they come into non-forest areas, and the farmers, to protect their crops, they put up these fences illegally electrified. And because of that, so many tigers and leopards and even humans are being killed. So, because the farmers have to protect their fields, sir, my suggestion to the government would be, can they come up with a scheme where DC current fences are given to farmers, the way you give solar panels and all that. So with this, the farmers' farm will also be protected and animals and humans will also be not
Honorable
killed.
Minister.
माननीय सभापति महोदय, माननीय सदस्य ने सही कहा है कि दिन प्रतिदिन हमारे जो ह्यूमन एनिमल जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहे हैं, उसके कारण इस प्रकार की घटनाएं घट रही हैं, उनकी संख्या भी मैंने दी है। जहां तक आपने सुझाव दिया है, निश्चित रूप से हमारे विभाग के द्वारा 6 फरवरी 2021 को एक व्यापक गाइडलाइन सभी स्टेट को दी गई है। हमने सभी राज्यों से कहा है कि जिला स्तर पर चूंकि विभिन्न प्रकार के डिपार्टमेंट इसके अंतर्गत इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, उनकी कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी बनाई जाए। पर्टिकुलर जो हॉट स्पॉट्स हैं, जहां पर सबसे ज़्यादा इंसिडेंट होते हैं, उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया जाए। और उसके साथ हमने वन विभाग के साथ ये भी स्थानीय प्रशासन को कहा है कि हम जॉइंट पेट्रोलिंग भी आपके साथ डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के साथ कर रहे हैं, ताकि जो घटनाएं घटती हैं। लेकिन हम जानते हैं कि इसमें जो सबसे ज़्यादा जरूरत है
पॉइंटेड रिस्पॉन्स।
हाँ, हम जो सबसे ज़्यादा जानते हैं कि पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन की बहुत ज़रूरत है और कुछ जगहों पर विशेष रूप से जो एलिफेंट्स वगैरह हैं, वहाँ अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम जो है, उसकी भी व्यवस्था हमने की है। 6 फरवरी 2021 की गाइडलाइन में कंप्लीट विस्तार से सब विषयों को।
ऑनरेबल मेंबर, सेकंड सप्लीमेंट्री।
Sir, my question was about having a scheme for
Ma'am,
DC current
avail the
lenses.
second supplementary.
My second supplementary, sir, is that in all states, particularly in Maharashtra, this pyramid which is there of the forest department, where administrative positions have to be at the top and executive positions down below, it is being reversed. Executive positions, the people who go to farms to actually, to the forest to actually safeguard it, is becoming less and less, and administrative positions are being expanded unnecessarily by giving additional charges.
Honorable Minister.
So, sir, I just want to ask the Minister whether if people don't go to the headquarters, they don't stay at headquarters, what will the government do about it? Because
Honorable
this is
Minister.
the reason why all this is happening.
अगर कोई ऐसी विशेष कुछ अधिकारियों के संबंध में आपके संबंध में अगर जानकारी है तो निश्चित रूप से आप दीजिए ताकि हम कार्रवाई करेंगे। जहां तक स्कीम की बात है, मैंने अपने पूर्व उत्तर में भी कहा था कि 6 फरवरी 2021 को एक पूरी व्यापक स्कीम हमने एडवाइजरी जारी करी है, उसकी कॉपी मैं आपको उपलब्ध करा दूंगा। अभी तुरंत ही 1 महीने पहले हमने वापस से एडवाइजरी मैन ह्यूमन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के लिए करी है, जिसमें कंपनसेशन से लेकर सभी विषयों को रखा गया है, जो नेट पे भी उपलब्ध है और मैं स्वयं आपको उपलब्ध करा।
थैंक यू। क्वेश्चन नंबर 84, श्री नारायण दास गुप्ता, नॉट प्रेजेंट। ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर।
Laid on the table of the House.
Question number 85, Shri Sanjay Raut, not present. Honorable Minister.
सभा के पटल पर रख दिया गया।
Shri Krishna Naya Raiga.
चेयरमैन, और लोक अदालत फ्री लीगल एड के बारे में एक क्वेश्चन है। फ्री लीगल एड some in High Court and Supreme Court, in some area in Lok Adalat are there. But in Supreme Court, so many public litigation interested cases are there. Some of the
Your question. Ask your question.
Intellectuals, poor persons who filed public litigation interest. In such cases, there is no legal aid. We ask the government to, is there any proposal to legal aid to the public litigation?
Honorable Minister.
सभापति महोदय, जहाँ तक शोषित, पीड़ित, वंचित, गरीब, SC, ST, माइनॉरिटी के लोग जो आर्थिक स्थिति जिनकी ठीक नहीं है, उनके लिए सरकार की तमाम योजनाएं हैं जिसके लीगल एड। इस मामले में हम लोग टेली लॉ स्कीम है महोदय, उसी के साथ न्याय बंधु की स्कीम है, उसी के साथ प्रो बोनो स्कीम है। इनके द्वारा जो लोग और विधिक साक्षरता और विधिक जागरूकता कार्यक्रम भी चल रहे हैं, इस मामले में लोग कानूनी सहायता ले सकते हैं। और नालसा कंट्री लेवल पर, सालसा राज्य लेवल पर, डालसा जिले लेवल पर और ताल्लुक स्तर पर भी इस प्रकार की कानूनी मोक्ष सहायता सरकार दे रही है।
क्वेश्चन नंबर 86, Shri Mastan Rao Bida. Present. Honorable Minister. Honorable members, on the motion of thanks on Honorable President's address, opportunity was given to all sections of the House. However, in the category of nominated members, as Shri Ghulam Ali availed the maiden speech time, I will accommodate one more member at their request. 10 minutes will be given to a member in this category at 2 p.m. and thereafter there will be reply by the Honorable Prime Minister. Nominated. Question hour is over. Honorable members, House stands adjourned to meet at 2 p.m. today.